Hello all, welcome. In today's session we are going to cover SQL functions. What are SQL functions? SQL functions are built-in functions within a database system that perform specific operations on data. They are essential tools for manipulating data and extracting information from databases. So, SQL functions are reusable blocks of code that perform specific tasks. We have two types of SQL functions. They are system functions, user-defined functions. What are system functions? System functions are predefined functions. They are scalar functions, aggregate functions, window functions. What are scalar functions? Scalar functions operate on a single value and it returns a single value. We have a different subcategories in scalar functions: numeric functions, string functions, date functions, like upper function, lower function, square root function, current date time, now function, substring function. So all these functions comes under scalar functions. Aggregate functions. Aggregate functions are the functions which are going to perform some calculations on set of rows, and finally it will return a single result. We have different aggregate functions like sum, average, count, max, min, etc. So these are the aggregate functions which we can perform the calculations using the group by and having classes. Window functions. Window functions will perform calculations across a set of rows related to the current row, and it will return single result for each row on a table. For example, rank, dense rank, row number, lag, lead. For these kind of operations we will be doing using window functions. The final user-defined functions. These user-defined functions are set returning functions. The other name we can call it as. So these are the functions which perform the complex calculations and the complex queries which we can write inside based on the business rules which we got it for the requirements. So based on that requirements we are going to perform, and we can define store procedures and functions in SQL programming. Let's move to next. SQL numeric functions. We have different numeric functions. In today's session we will cover numeric functions. So all these numeric functions: absolute, CEIL, floor, round, trunc, square root, random, power. So these are the major numeric functions which we will be using in our daily activities. So I'll be covering all these numeric functions with syntax, and also we can see the practical. There are many numeric functions which we can see in the documentation, PostgreSQL documentation. From there you can practice more. Without wasting further time, we will jump into the practical session. Yes, we connected to HRDB new. Let's take a select statement for all the numeric functions which I was prepared before. All these are numeric functions which we are going to perform in the select statement. So we are not using any table at the end. First we will be building this logic on select statement, and later we will apply these numeric functions or any other functions logic into the main table or main SQL script. So let's run this script. ABS function will always whenever we pass a negative value or positive value, it will always provide an absolute value, that is a positive value. CEIL function, it will take an input parameter as a float value. CEIL always will increment as 1 before the decimal point. Whatever the value is there, it will increment by the CEIL as 1. Similarly, floor will be before decimal point, whatever the integer was there, that will return as a floor value. It is less the same value. Round function. Coming to round function, round function will take two parameters. One is float and the other is precision. Two, in this case, we mentioned the two parameters, right? So after two decimal, if this value is less than 5, okay, in that case, it will return the same value, 10.53. That is how we got the output. If this value is greater than 5, 0 is third point is greater than or equal to 5. In that case, it will increment with the 10.54. For example, let's show this and run. Here it will increment as a 10.54. But when it comes to trunc function, it is kind of a different. So even if this value is 5, after two decimals, even if it is less than 9 also, it will return 10.53. Let me execute. See, that is how it will truncate after two decimals. Square root function. Square root function, we will pass input and it will return a square root of that particular integer. Random function always return random value between 0 and 1. So whenever we run multiple times, right, so it will return different values if you observe. So this is how it will provide a different value between 0 and 1. Power function, 5 power of 2 is 25. So these are the numeric functions. So these numeric functions the above numeric functions will apply this logic into the main table functions. Okay. So the first one is absolute. So we are applying employee ID, salary, commission, and for the calculated value, we are trying to get the negative value here, salary minus commission. That is how we will be getting a negative value. So that is the reason we calculated this arithmetic operator minus and we brought this value. And after that we are applying ABS function. It will return an absolute function. So absolute function result is 150. So this is a calculated value for this column. Wherever it is a negative value, it will return the absolute function as a positive value. Moving to next script. This script actually it will return employee ID, salary, commission. This calculated value will return this logic. What is this logic? Coalesce, case, all these are coalesce, all these are conditional expressions. We will discuss it in a later session. So just you can remember like a coalesce, it will accept two parameters. One is a column name and the other is the return value. So wherever column name values are null, it will return as a 1. If the column name values are not null, it will return not null value. So in other database systems, we have a NVL functions in Oracle database. The same functionality will apply for this coalesce. So in this case, usually like wherever in real time, right? So whenever the commission column values are null, so we will be returning that as with a 0. But in our case here, to show the functionality, I was just used as a 1. So we are multiplying with 1000 and divided by salary. So this is a calculated value. So this calculated value logic we applied for all the round function, trunc function, CEIL function and floor function. So let's moving to the round function. So round function, if you take the example of this, right? So we can take this example. So here we observe 0.33. Round value is 2, right? After two decimals, we could see 6. 6 is greater than or equal to 5. So now the second digit will be rounding off to 4. That is the reason we got a result of 0.34. When it comes to trunc, If the 6 is anyhow like in between 0 to 9, any value, it doesn't bother. It will just return 0.33. It will truncate and it will return. Similarly, if we take the other example of this, so we are able to observe like after 2 decimals, this value is greater than or equal to 5. That's the reason it is incremented by 0.41. And as we know, trunc function, it will return always 0.40. So that is how it will return. So in this case, observe 1.05 after 2 decimal digits, right? So this value is less than 5. It means round function will return 1.05. The trunc function will be same, like 1.05. Hope round and trunc functions you are clear. Moving to the CEIL functions and the floor functions. In this case, 1.25, it doesn't matter like after decimal. So before dot, whatever the value, it will simply increment, CEIL will increment one value, that is 2. Similarly, 187 incremented 188, 400. So 400 return because it's a 0 value. So here 0.3. So 0.3, the next value will be, numeric value will be 1, right? So it's CEIL to 1. Similarly, full floor. So for this 0.33, the same value is 0, right? So for this case, 0.3, it will be, floor will be 0. Likewise, if you observe here, right, 1.05. So the numeric value is 1. So floor will be returning 1. This is how all these numeric functions will be using for our business calculations. And if we want to perform any transformations or logic calculations, we can use many numeric functions for in our daily activities to perform any kind of logic to be built. So this is how we can build the logic on the columns or multiple columns with multiple functions, SQL functions. Hope you understand these SQL functions, numeric functions. So we'll take next session with the string functions and date functions. We will cover that. Thank you all for your support, and it's encouraged me to do more videos to share my knowledge. Please like, share and subscribe. Thank you.